that has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running back to the end of life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes so seldom. That has come to me. Happiness comes. That has come to me. Running fast for the edge of life. Jesus saved me in time. It is here in the Father's kingdom. It was there for me. You took me in, and you washed away my sins. You washed away.
You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good morning. Well, afternoon in about 4 minutes. Ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter, here. Really hope you're safe. I really hope you're well. So, it's official. I've been putting this off because I originally want to do this maybe with Brandon or Canada, and then I'll be real, y'all. The news has just been very heavy. It's been very hard to be motivated or happy about the state of the world. But I'll get into that in a second. But what I will say is, I woke up this morning. I went on a 30-minute walk, really quick. Um, got some steps in. Had a little coffee, and I don't know. I just woke up. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was like, we're a week away from the Oscars. I'm gonna do a Oscar podcast. I don't know if I'm gonna do a watch along yet, but I'm gonna do an Oscar predictions podcast this weekend. Um, I've seen, I think, all of the Best Picture nominees except for A Complete Unknown. I think that's the one I haven't seen, but I don't know. I woke up today and I was just feeling motivated. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. And before I get into the actual best stuff proper, because I'm not gonna do a soapbox corner today or anything, but what I want to do in place of that somewhat is I just want to thank y'all. This year, 2024 was a really shit year. I got laid off at the end of December of 2023. Still looking. Um, Keeping up hope, but honestly, I'm frustrated and sad doesn't even begin to cover it, and angry. But there's been some good that's come out of it. Um, I got to spend more time with my partner, which made me incredibly happy. Um, Going on 8 years this October. She's been a rock in every sense of the word. When I've had days that I've been feeling like shit and felt shitty about myself and not felt like creating, she's been supportive in every way that you could possibly imagine. Um, I don't talk about my partner too much on the podcast because it's my podcast, and it's not about her. But she's been amazing. She's been a genuinely amazing partner, and I would not have gotten through this past year without her. So to my amazing partner, I love you so much. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for validating my frustrations and my sad days, and being there to believe in me when I didn't even believe myself. So, Alea, I love you so much. Thank you. Just thank you for being you. To my cats, Milo and Samuel Katzen are fur children. It's really interesting. I was never like a cat person growing up. I always thought cats were like fine, but I was always like dogs. But I don't know. The older I get, it's like these cats just get me. We've had Samuel L. Katzen, who's in the chair, or he was in the chair. Um, we've had him for 4 years. We're about to have Milo for 2 next month, which is crazy. And they've just been so kind and so sweet. And even when they're bitey, um, even when they're being menaces to society and to this house, they just get me. They've just understood that I've been not in a great place some days, and they've just been incredibly kind and sweet and cuddly and just everything you'd want two awesome cats to be. There's a reason why they're on the background for all of my stuff. So to Milo and Samuel Katzen, your dad loves you. Um, to all of you, for who have listened, who have commented, who have downloaded. I just celebrate 10 years of doing this podcast. I I never thought when I launched this with my buds Scott and Colin. I never thought we'd get to 2 years, let alone 10. And when they stepped away from it about 4 years ago, I've talked about this before, but really having that conversation of, oh crap, do I want to do this by myself? Could I even do solo reviews? And I remember being very hesitant to do it. And at the end of the day, I just figured out, I love doing this, whether one person listens or 1,000 people listen. I love doing this. I love talking about film, and I love this podcast, and I love the relationships I've been able to form and the friends I've been able to make because of this podcast. So to those of you, whether you were a day one listener or you're just discovering the podcast, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this this dog and pony show that is the Real Pineapple. To everyone who's come on the show, I've had some amazing guests this past year. Amanda Jane Stern, Aaron Moriarty, just the people who have come on the show and have given their time to talk about their art and to spend their time, because time is the most valuable commodity. To those of you who have come on and talked about the show, shout out to Tim Hardiman, Cam Cole. Like, I know I'm forgetting people. I don't have a list in front of me. I'm doing this off the top. But to everyone who's come on, I have a couple interviews that are going to be up this week, and those interviews were fucking excellent as well. But to everyone who's come on the podcast and has trusted me to review their film and to divulge, about the film and to take their time and to come on and laugh and hopefully be entertained. Hopefully you're entertained when you come on and it's a good interview. But to all the actors and actresses that have come on, and the directors and the producers and everything in between, thank you so much for trusting me to hopefully do right by your projects. And it means the world to me that you've come on. I really hope you know that. And then last but not least, to the people I've been able to who've come on to help review. Shout out to Nick Taylor over on the Afternoon Tune. Shout out to Dusk and Josh over there on the Afternoon Tune. I've been on there a lot. I appreciate them trusting me to come on and give my insight and to shock the system a little bit. Check their YouTube comments. But gentlemen, thank you for trusting me to come on and to hopefully respect your brand and everything. Shout out to Canada. Shout out to Bradley Martin, who's come on the show multiple times and given his great insight. Shout out to Brandon Horn, who's come on multiple times and has been fantastic. They'll be on. Brandon will be on this week because we're gonna have to talk Invincible Fight Girl before Black History Month ends. But last thing I will say is as someone who's the last year was a lot. Last year was a lot. Like I said, it's probably the worst year I've had since my dad died. It was a really shitty, horrible year. But at the end of the day, I have y'all, and I've got this podcast, and I was able to deep dive into film in a way that I was never able to before. So while things aren't great, and while money is very nice to have, thank you to everyone who has shown any sort of support. I hope y'all know that I am forever grateful to you for trusting me with your time or listening to a podcast or anything in between. So you know, whether you've watched the live streams live or whether you've gone back and watched them or whether you've caught the AEW stuff or what have you, or, you know, the wide spectrum stuff that I review on here. Thank you. Genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on. And thank you for trusting me. And here's to another 10 years, because I don't plan on this stopping anytime soon. Because as the world gets more and more complicated, I like to think that this is hopefully a safe space for all of you. You know, as long as you're not a bigot, this is a safe space for you. So, shout out to Afternoon Tune. I know I just spent like a whole like 3 minutes talking about them, but they said that they reviewed Invincible, Fight Girl, liked it a lot. If you're not subscribed to the Afternoon Tune, check out the Afternoon Tune. They have incredible stuff over there. They do some great live streams, and they just reviewed Cobra Kai and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Like yesterday, Friday or Saturday, they reviewed it. I haven't watched Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which I know is insane. It's a Marvel thing, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it this week, and I'll have a review up probably this weekend. But 10 years, Hunter will be interviewing more white women. Well, I mean, you know, if this keeps up, I mean, interviewing it, like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of white women that've come on, but I've had a good mix, to be fair. Yeah. So with all that said, and with my mushiness out of the way, I promise that'll be the most emotional I probably get. I promise I don't think I'll get more mushy than that. But actually, that's not true. There is one movie on here there's a couple movies. But anyways, but with that said, let's get into my favorite films of 2024. So there is a honorable mentions podcast that is already up on the pod. Did a live stream of it. There is an audio version up of it as well, wherever you listen to podcasts, at The Real Pineapple, REEL Pineapple. So go ahead and check that out. If you haven't, I would definitely recommend listening to that first, because there's a lot of movies that just I couldn't find a spot for, that I want to make sure that y'all put on your radar. So just to go through a couple real quick, Trust, a film that I did a interview with the star and the director of the film, Jennifer Levinston and Almog Avidan Antonier. Trust is streaming on Prime Video right now. Highly recommend checking that out. It is well worth your time. If you like Succession, you will love that. You will love that fucking movie. Amanda Jane Stern, as I mentioned, her film Perfectly Good Moment, that's streaming on Tubi for free. You can check that out. I don't even want to tell you the plot synopsis of it. Just know there's a lot of twists and turns, and that last third is just mwah. So check that out. Thelma fucking rules, and I'm sad I couldn't find a spot for it, but please check that out. Shout out to June Squibb, who's amazing in it. Also the last role for Richard Roundtree, who is fantastic in the film. Plus Parker Posey and Clark Gregg are the movie couple I didn't know I needed, but I need to see them in more stuff. That's streaming on Hulu right now. A Different Man, Sebastian Stan, a masterclass by him. The film he should be nominated for an Oscar for. Why he's nominated for The Apprentice, I do not fucking understand. But Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson give incredible performances in that. Hal Pearson is not nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That is a conversation we will have to have. But it is an incredible film. Please check that out. Driving Madeline. This is a movie that, like, it breaks my heart. I could not find a spot for it, but after redoing my list, I just couldn't find a spot for it. I think it's like $4 to rent that movie. It's a fantastic movie. What else? Love Lies Bleeding. That's on HBO Max right now. Check that shit out. That movie is just fantastic. And heading into Women's History Month, it's a great Women's History Month film to watch. It's a great Pride Month film to watch. Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien, they just eat in that movie. No fucking crumbs left. It's a great fucking flick. And then the last one I'll throw out is I'll throw out two more. Dune Part 2. Never got it. Thought the first Dune was good, not great. Dune Part 2 really brings things together with a masterclass performance by Timothy Chalamet. He shows the fuck out in that movie, and Austin Butler. Yeah, see, we can move past Elvis now between that and the Bike Riders. Great fucking flick that's also streaming on HBO Max right now. And then the last one I'll throw out, a very fun Western with some Twilight Zone esque vibes in terms of being like a very good bottle film. It reminds me a lot of Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up, that classic Twilight Zone episode, The Last Stop in Yuma County. Absolutely fantastic movie that I feel like a lot of people, it probably went under your radar. Check that out because it's fantastic. All right. So jumping in to the list proper now. Per usual, I have a tie for number 10. Yes, some people would call it cheating, but it's my list, so fuck off. So my number 10, tied for number 10, is I always, God, I should be able to say this. I think it's Heretic. Yeah, I'm Heretic. I'm gonna go with Heretic. That is of course the Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, Chloe East film, where these two young missionaries go ahead and unfortunately knock on the wrong door, and they encounter Hugh Grant's Mr. Reed, and it just turns into this incredible philosophical breakdown on religion and what religion means and how it can be weaponized. I don't want to get too much more into it more than that, because that is something that I think that y'all really should experience cold. By the way, I'm not going to get too much into spoilers on these, just so you know. But oh my God, you want to talk about a movie that just scared me? I actually went back and rewatched it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yep, still holds up. Love the movie. Absolutely love the movie. Hugh Grant really should have gotten an Oscar nomination. I would have given him an Oscar nomination over Adrian Brody, honestly. Oh yeah, by the way, because I know some people go like, why isn't The Brutalist on your list? The Brutalist uses the AI, and that's now just starting to come out over the last like month or so. And the fact that the film felt like they needed to hide that fact, fuck that. Also, the shit's 3.5 hours long. I don't give brownie points because your film happens to be longer, especially when I feel like it didn't need to be that long. The Brutalist would have been a much more effective film if it's 2 hours 45. It didn't need to be as long as it was, and if you disagree, then you're just fucking wrong. So that's why it's not on the list. It's a good movie, not a great film. But yeah, so yeah, Heretic, that is my number. That's tied for number 10. The other film is a indie film. I don't believe it's streaming anywhere yet, but you'll probably be able to see it hopefully sooner than later. I'm actually looking to see if you can find it anywhere to stream. So it doesn't look like it's available to stream yet, but definitely something to keep on your radar. It's this film called Chaperone. It's written and directed by Zoe Eisenberg, who, keep an eye on her. She's going to be fucking special, because holy shit, this movie. Basically think May December, but more disturbing. That's all I'll give you in terms of the plot and everything to it. But the film is just, it's insane in the best. There's so much tension, and where things go in the final third, I love where the film goes in its final act. So definitely check that out. Seriously, keep it on your radar. It's gonna be something that I think is gonna resonate with audiences. Is gonna have some very interesting conversations once the film is over. So definitely check it out. Keep it on your radar. Chaperone, tied for my number 10. All right, so on to my number 9 film. One of the things I love, that, is like a 180 from my, worst of list is there was some amazing animation this year. There was some amazing animation, in 2024. I'm not even, I'm blanking on, um so Piece by Piece didn't make my list, but I'll have a review up for that tomorrow for Black History Month. That was an amazing fucking movie. I love Piece by Piece. Um, Orion in the Dark, really enjoyed that. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I might cheat because that technically came out like early this year, even though it's up for an Oscar. I might cheat and say that's eligible for my best stuff for 2025. And then Transformers One. Fucking love Transformers One. Couldn't find a spot for it on the list, but that's a movie that's streaming on Paramount Plus. That is well worth your time. A movie that did make my list though is number nine's The Wild the Robot, which holy fuck, you want to talk about a movie that just made me feel so much emotion. Um, I wept like a motherfucker. I actually did a double feature of this and the Iron Giant and just bawled my little heart out. Lupita Nyong'o, like, what can't this woman do? She's so good at fucking everything. Like, she's a great actress, a great cat mom. She's gorgeous. She's funny, and she's a great voice. And that is not a skill that everyone fucking has, but she's amazing in the film, and it's one of the best voice casts in a film maybe ever. Lupita, Pedro Pascal, Bill Nighy, Stephanie Sue, Matt Berry, Ving Rhames, Mark Hamill, Catherine O'Hara. Holy shit! Like that alone, right there, the cast is insane, and they've already confirmed that we will be getting a sequel. So, but just an incredible film about the dangers of technology, about how nature needs to be preserved. You hear that, Trump? About and about how just because a parent, you may not have a standard relationship with someone doesn't mean that they can't be a mentor, doesn't mean that they can't help raise you and give you great advice. And I just it's it's a very good, if you want to do a fun triple feature, do this, The Iron Giant, and Ron's Gone Wrong, which is streaming on Disney Plus, by the way. Ron's Gone Wrong is a very underrated flick, and I think that's going to be a movie 5 years from now people really do like discover and go like, wow, like why weren't we bigger on this when it came out? But I absolutely love the score for the Iron Giant. Uh, it's some of the best animation I've seen in a film in the last couple of years. An incredible score. I love everything about The Wild Robot, and I truly do believe it's a masterclass in filmmaking. And once again, proves the point that animation is special, y'all. I know some people poo poo on animation and act like it's a lesser median, but it really isn't. It's one of those art forms that really does need to be respected and cared for. And um, it's an incredible film. So yeah, The Wild Robot is my number 9. Moving on to my number 8. I didn't see the other film that he starred in The Crow, just because I there was a point I got on my worst stuff. I was like, I'm done torturing myself. I can't do this anymore. It's like I'm not pissing myself off more after watching God's Not Dead. But what I did see is Bill Skarsgård in Boy Kills World, which, fuck yes, you want to talk about an action movie that knows exactly what it wants to be. At the end of the day, it just breaks down to someone wanting to be a good big brother and have a good relationship with their sister, while wanting to go ahead and get some revenge along the way. The fact that you get the voice of H. John Benjamin to be the voice of the boy, Bill Skarsgård's character, uh, it's perfect casting, and they use the voiceover work to incredible effect. The action is raw and violent, funny at points, but never misses a chance to make an impact. Jessica Roth, I've seen her in some stuff because I remember seeing her in Happy Death Day, in Valley Girl. I'm a fan. I'm such a fan of hers, and she needs to be in more stuff. Like, let's get her in that A24 neon bag like immediately. She's amazing in this, and I want to see her in more stuff. Bill Skarsgård continues to prove that he's one of the best actors in the game. Y'all know my reverence for 9 Days, which he's fantastic in. But you know, Charlton Copley is great in this as well. Shout out to Monkey Man as well. That's another movie that I had high on the list, and just as other stuff came out. But Monkey Man's fantastic. Michelle Dockery is so good in this, as well as Brett Gelman. And then that final third, including the last fight, is just everything I wanted. Including a score that I've actually been having on repeat and listen to at a hilarious rate since the film came out. It is definitely something that y'all should check out. If you have not seen it for some reason, you really should. I believe it's streaming on Hulu, actually. But yeah, it is a fantastic movie. If you want a good beat 'em up with some shockingly good emotion in there, check out Boy Kills World. You will enjoy yourself. So yeah, Boy Kills World. That is my number 8. My number 7, actually very good timing. It's streaming on Peacock now, and in my opinion, it is the best film that Robert Eggers has put out. My number 7 is Nosferatu. So I watched a little bit. I think I watched an episode of The Idol and was like, yep, cool. I'm not doing this anymore. And look, I will be the first to admit, I talked a lot of shit about Lily Rose Depp, especially after Yoga Hosers, because Yoga Hosers is some bullshit. It is such a goddamn bad movie. Like, it's such shit. It's so bad. And so when it was like, oh, it's a Lily Rose Depp again, I was like, oh god, we're gonna keep trying this. We're gonna keep trying this. And look, credit where it's due. She clearly just needs to work with people who aren't monsters. Sam Levinson. She clearly needs to work with people who just aren't shitty, because holy fuck, she's a great actress. She's amazing in this. And how she didn't get a Best Actress nomination, I will never fucking know, because she's incredible in this. She has to play scared. She has to play terrified. She has to play sexy. She has to play at points like she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She has to be naive. She has to play this whole incredible gamut of emotions, and she nails every fucking one. There is this shot where she's just staring at the camera as she's basically having like an episode where she's being possessed, and it is some of the most convincing acting in a film I saw all last year. Yeah, shout out Lily Rose Depp. You're incredible for this, and you were absolutely robbed, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to awards. Yeah, she's amazing in this. Shout out to Nicholas Hoult, man, who's been having a hell of a couple years, man. Between this and The Menu and Juror Number 2, like he's been on a hell of a streak of just like awesome shit. The Order, which I heard great things about. I haven't seen it yet. But he's awesome in this, and the gamut of emotions he has to play, from being terrified, being so driven to go ahead and give his wife the best things, to questioning his wife and questioning their whole relationship, to being angry of her, to just he's awesome in this. And Bill Skarsgård again coming up. I didn't recognize him at all under the makeup. You never see Bill Skarsgård. Like, it is a complete transformation in terms of becoming that character. And some of the best cinematography I've seen in a film all year. There's a scene in the back half involving like rats that scared the absolute fuck out of me. I did not like that shit at all. but some of the best cinematography in a film all last year, some of the best score in a film all last year, um, some of the most haunting dialogue in a film all last year. Like, just it checks every fucking box that you would want a film to check. And I really do believe it is Edgar's best film. I will say too, in terms of just making me uncomfortable, this film made me uncomfortable. Like, it's quite a feat because it takes a lot to actually make me squirm, and I was kind of flabbergasted at the places this film went and what this film had to say. Um, Shout out to the Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I think is getting a little bit lost in the shuffle here, um, as he plays was it Frederick Harding, I believe is how you say it. Um, his arc is so tragic in the movie, and you feel like he's a dick. Do not misunderstand, but some of the stuff that occurs to him and happens in his orbit, you are sitting there going, "Oh wow, okay, man, this is like you're just kind of coming up." You're just kind of coming up snake eyes here, aren't you? Like, there's some shit that occurs that I just was flabbergasted by. But Aaron Taylor, it's so interesting how Aaron Taylor Johnson just kind of feels more at home when he's doing these like period type films. It's really interesting how that works for him. But this is streaming on Peacock right now, so it's actually the extended cut too. So I haven't seen the extended cut. I watched the screener back in like late November and then rewatched it again a couple weeks before Christmas. I cannot stress enough how much this is worth your time. If you're a fan of like, gothic horror, if you're a fan of Eggers, if you're just a fan of vampire shit, it checks every box and then some, honestly. So yes, check out Nosferatu. It fucking rules. It is absolutely fantastic. So that is my number 7. Moving on to my number 6. This is a movie I am gonna tell you so little about. It's Strange Darling. I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't read a review. I had a friend recommend it to, I think it was Nick. I think it was Nick and Brandon. I think it was Nick at the Afternoon Tune and then Brandon who recommended it to me. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, because if just so you know, y'all, if you recommend a movie to me, I mean, I am admittedly selective on my horror because I do want to, sleep. But if you recommend something to me, I'll usually get around to it. It might take me a little bit, but I will get around to it. Afternoon Tune says Hunter would definitely be killed by the Strange Darling killer. I see the good in people, man. I mean, wow, I have the best opinions, movie opinions in the world. Second to me, maybe. But I won't tell you anything about Strange Darling, but just know that it's a movie that will really change the way you look at the world and really make you question shit. It's got some amazing cinematography. It's perfectly paced too. That is the biggest compliment I can give it, is that you're gonna kind of feel like it's a fever dream as you're watching it, but there's this point. Pardon me. There is a point where the movie almost kind of flips, and you're kind of going, "Oh shit!" And then things really hit this other gear. And again, I won't give anything away, but oh man, when things pick up, they really pick up, and it's one of these things that I think you will be amazed by when you get there. So I don't think it's streaming anywhere currently. I think you would have to like pay to rent it, but pay to rent it. It's so worth the $6 to rent. It is a fantastic film. It's one of the best horror films I've seen in the last couple of years, and it's definitely something that if you're a horror buff, this will become a movie I think you'll be rewatching for the next couple of years. So yeah, check out Strange Darling. You will not be disappointed. That is my number 6. All right, y'all. So now we're into the top five. I realized I've not taken a sip of water, and I'm kind of starting to lose my voice. So give me just a sec here. All right, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, my number five. I mentioned that it was a great year for animation, and I've seen I've read a couple comics of this, but I'll be the first to admit, like, this isn't a property I'm super familiar with. But I saw a trailer for it. No, I didn't even see a trailer. I it just kind of popped up in my recommended, or no, it was in top 10. That's what it was. It was like in top 10. I was kind of bored. I didn't know what to watch. And I just went, fuck it, I'll throw this on. And I could not believe how much emotion I felt watching this. My Alea was house sitting, and I actually was like, hey, you should watch this. And so I sent her like a text saying, you should watch this and check it out. And she watched it and she was like, holy shit, this movie's amazing. It's Ultraman Rising at number five. I I love when a film completely catches me off guard. And I just uh Ken Sato, who is the who plays Ultraman, who is Ultraman in this, voiced by Christopher Sean. I never thought that a movie about a star baseball player having to go ahead and take care of a baby kaiju would make me feel shit. And I cannot express to you how much this reminds me somewhat of my cats. And I will admit that is part of what melts my cold dark heart. But I just I have admiration for this film. There are several points in this movie, in the third act especially, where there are these emotional gut punches that I was not expecting whatsoever. Um, I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm sorry, sir. Uh, J, Jed Jade Watanabe is what I'm gonna go with, who plays the original Ultraman. They have a conversation their their friendship, or about their about their relationship as father and son. That just it hits this perfect uncomfortable spot because you realize how realistic the conversation is. And the third act of the movie gives you so many hero moments, so many moments that you just go, fuck yeah. That you just go, yes, this is what I wanted. And it gives you stuff that you didn't know that you wanted. And that's always the mark of a great film, where you get things and you're like, oh, I did not even expect to get this, but hell yeah, I'm happy I'm getting this now. Including some incredible cinematography, including a third act final fight that I'm always I'm a sucker for a good final boss battle. And the shit reminds me of like the Rampage games. Like, it turns into such a kaiju just like cluster in the best way. And I love this movie. It's something I've actually rewatched. I've actually watched it like 2 or 3 times actually. So it's streaming on Netflix. I don't know if they confirmed a sequel yet. Actually, let me see. Did they confirm a sequel? Okay, yeah. So apparently they are doing a sequel. Fuck yes, let's go. It's apparently going to be called Ultraman Fallen. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So please check out Ultraman Rising. And I think Netflix has like an Ultraman show that they did a couple years ago. So I actually might end up checking that out. But yeah, it's fantastic. So that is my number 5, Ultraman Rising. All right, moving on to my number 4. I I enjoyed the first 2 films in this franchise so much, but this was the one where I really went, "Wow, you've kind of hit prime," pun intended, when you find out what it is. It's a character that's meant so much to me, really my whole life. To peel back the curtain a little bit, to this day, one of my favorite, like, it's a top 5 Christmas gift to this day, because it unlocked just geekdom for me that I didn't realize at the time. I still remember being 5 years old in my PJs, opening up this like red box. And when I opened up the box and ripped it apart, it was a Sega Genesis. And seeing that little pose of Sonic going like this. My number 4 favorite film is Sonic the Hedgehog 3, a absolute masterclass in how you do a sequel. We're on the third one now, so we're really deep into Sonic lore at this point. We've got Sonic and Knuckles, we have Tails. Team Sonic is, yeah, you're goddamn right. Yeah, you're goddamn right. Sonic 3, motherfucker. All right, yeah, fuck yeah, it's number 4. Yeah, I love this fucking movie. I absolutely fucking love it. I liked Sonic a lot. I like Sonic 2 even more. Sonic 3 is kind of the perfect encapsulation of everything I like about the franchise. You get your stuff with Shadow. Shadow actually uses his gun, which I was very happy about. There's a whole emphasis on family with with Donut Lord and and Pretzel Lady. I love their dynamic. Yeah. So exactly, Stacy. Hi, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's a perfect balance of like the human characters are there, and I think they do a good job of having. Yeah, good morning to you. I think it does a good job of focusing enough on the human characters, but it really does have this heart to it that I was honestly surprised by. It For those of you who've played Sonic Adventure, you know how dark that Shadow origin is. And hang on, hello. Yeah, and Jim Carrey, that is the closest you'll ever get to 90s Jim Carrey ever again. But straight up Jim Carrey playing Ivo and Gerald Robotnik, he nails the shit. He absolutely fucking nails it. Hi, Kitty. He absolutely nails both roles, and there is such a darkness to where they go with both those characters. The fact that Robotnik wants what Sonic has, he wants to have a family, and the way that family is ripped away from him because his grandpapa wants to go ahead and destroy the world is so intense. And I love the way that we get there. And an amazing chase sequence with Shadow on his motorbike, which I love a good car chase sequence, and that film just nails it, nails that shit. Seeing them both go Super Saiyan, basically, that shit ruled. The Sonic Adventure 2 music, theme music queuing up once they go ahead and actually do team up. There's so much about that film that if you're a Sonic fan, it's just a love letter to you. It really is a love letter to you in the way that something like the first Avengers is for Marvel fans if you grew up reading the Avengers comics, because there's just so many Easter eggs and stuff. And the fact that we're getting Metal Sonic and Amy is joining the franchise, like let's fucking go. There's so much about that movie that works for me. It's the best paced of the films. I will say my only real gripe is that you get someone like Kristen Ritter, and she just doesn't have shit to do. Like, she's in the movie barely, but that's really my only gripe with it. At the end of the day, these aren't about the human characters. The film is called Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and they continue to add layers to Sonic. Ben Schwartz, man, it's so funny that John Ralphio from Parks and Rec is just such a great voice actor for Sonic. And I'm so happy that they brought in Kalina Shaughnessy, who's been voicing Tails for like the last 15 years, years-ish. And Idris Elba's a perfect Knuckles. Who would have thought that he just continues to nail that fucking role? And Keanu Reeves, once again, proving that there's nothing that he can't fucking do. Keanu Reeves is fucking wonderful. And yeah, just everything about that movie just works for me. I love it. Love that movie. So that is my number 4. All right. Now we're in the top 3. So I will be the first to admit this is where the list gets very murky because I really like. I'll be real. My top 5, I can make a case to like switch all 5 of my top 5 because I love those films so much. But because I have to rank these, um, my number 3 is a film that I hope wins Best Picture. I don't think it will, but I have this. You know what? Never mind. I'll save my Oscar shit for the podcast later this week. My number 3 is Anora. Sean Baker, man. I've been a big fan of Sean Baker. I think Sean Baker makes incredibly fascinating films, whether it's Red Rocket, whether it's Tangerine, whether it's the Florida Project. I think this is Sean Baker at the height of his powers. Anora's sex worker Black Panther. you're not wrong, Afternoon Tune. And it really shows sex work in a respect that you rarely see. Mikey Madsen. Okay, I will let this out. I think she's gonna win Best Picture or Best Actress. I think she's got it. I've been saying Demi Moore. I wouldn't be mad at all if Demi Moore won because while I'm not crazy about the substance, I gave it what did I give the substance? Like a B-. I still think Demi Moore's performance is fucking incredible in that movie. But holy shit, Mikey Madsen's amazing. She's special, man. So I remember watching her, of course, in Scream. That would have been what, Scream 5. But I remember, I feel like I'm the one person who fucking watched this show. That show Better Things with her and Pamela Adlon, pardon me. Which, if you haven't seen that, that's streaming on Hulu. It's well worth your time. That's a great fucking show. I think that got like 5 seasons, pardon me. Check that out. Mikey Madsen's great on there. But just the scene in this movie where she ends up getting tied up with a phone is some of the most intense and yet hilarious shit. The way that that scene is able to strike the dramatic and the funny, it's such a great balance that scene strikes. And quite frankly, you're on her side the whole time because look, as a proud stoner, when you first meet her eventual husband, you're like, okay, this would be a fun guy to hang out with for like a night, maybe even a week. But as the wheels fall off on things in her world, you just start to see just how dire the situation is and the general vulnerability in which she plays plays Annie. She's amazing in this. She's absolutely incredible, and where the film ends up, without spoiling, obviously, I think it's such a profound way that it ends, and to allow the audience to just sit in that. I watched this first time in November, like early November. I watched this, and then I watched it again in December, and then I actually watched it again last month. And so I've watched it like three times, yeah. And the more I watch it, the more I find to love about it. I really do think that it's gonna unlock so much for Mikey Madsen, and I cannot wait to see what she does moving forward. Yes, you do need to see it. You absolutely do. You can rent it. Yeah, you can rent it, but it's absolutely well worth your time. It flies by quick too. Like it's a quick watch. I think it's like 2 hours. Okay, yeah, it's 2 hours 19, but it's honestly one of the quickest 2 hours 19s that I've seen in a couple years. Like it just flies by. So please check this out. If I think we all have friends that have done sex work or might be in the industry, whether you have like an OnlyFans or what have you. But the respect that I think this film shows to sex work and the conversations that present themselves because of the situations that she ends up in, I think it's I think it's a classic, honestly. Hunter, when are you getting to OnlyFans? Well, if I'm not working in the next month or two, maybe sooner than we think. um, uh, yeah, but yeah, it's a great film, and I think what this is, I really think it's going to be a moment that, while it's kind of not kind of, because it just swept like the Film Independent Awards last night. But while I think it's being appreciated now, I think it's going to be heralded and held in a very high regard 5 years from now. I think it's gonna be one of those films that people look back on and go like, okay, yeah, I need to actually elevate this even higher than what I thought, thought about it originally. Uh, yeah. So yeah, my number three is Anora. All right. Moving on to my final two. God, crazy. Down the top two. Um, this movie is uh this movie does a lot, and it does a lot, and to be honest, y'all, this is my big bitch. This is why I don't I pay no attention to people who go, well, this movie is 3.5 hours, it's fucking epic. I don't give a shit. Maximize your time. Make good use of your time. This movie is under 90 minutes, and it's some of the most emotion I've ever felt. I felt in a film all year. um it's Flow. Flow is my number two favorite film. So really simple. And this is the second year in a row that I've had a film that has no an animated film, on top of that has no dialogue, that is in my top three. Robot Dreams last year. You shut the fuck up. Divorce in the Black is not it. That was on my worst stuff. That's not my best stuff. God damn it. Um, I love this movie. It's a very simple movie. It's about a cat who gets displaced because of this flood, goes ahead and gets on a boat and forms friendships with these other animals and is trying to find shelter and safety. That's the plot. And it is some of the most engaging filmmaking I've seen in a film all year. Quick story on it. So I got a screener for it. So I watched this. When did I watch this? I watched this like early December. And so like I'm out in the living room with Alea, and I'm like, I load up my bong. I'm like, all right, cool, let's watch this. And Milo, our younger cat, sees me get in the recliner, as he often does, and he jumps in my lap. He always does this because when he gets in the recliner, when I get in the recliner, he knows I'm going to be watching a movie, taking my notes, or playing a game, so he gets comfortable. He's never done this. He actually turned around to face the TV and watch the whole movie. He didn't fall asleep. He didn't go up and get food. He was so engaged. He actually watched the film the entire time. And keep in mind, there's no dialogue in this movie. It is one of the best viewing experiences I've had since I've done the podcast. The score is absolute perfection. The animation has this like beautiful, like hand-drawn, like Hungry Caterpillar look to it. The way that the animals move and the way the animals interact is yeah, I actually did a worst of. You can check that out on my Twitch or on my YouTube. I'll link my YouTube real quick. Might be easier to find it that way. But yeah, I went ahead and I did a worst of already. But I love this movie. Like I genuinely love this movie in a way that animation just makes me happy, y'all. It's one of those things where I'm like, there's a reason why animation just kicks so much ass. And there's a reason why when people actually care about it and know how to do it and actually care and want to put the time in, that animation can be one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I have so much admiration for all the artists. Gintz, I'm gonna butcher your name, so I'm sorry. Gintz Zilbadosis. Yeah, Zilbadosis. Yeah, I'll go with that. Thank you for the subscription, by the way. Appreciate you. but I love this movie. I have genuine admiration for this movie. This is streaming on HBO Max. Like I said, it's under 90 minutes. I think it's like 84 minutes, I think. Um, but it's incredible the amount of emotion. Okay, it's 90 minutes. It's incredible the amount of emotion and grace, and I love this movie. I've actually rewatched it a couple times and it just cried each time. If you're a pet owner, especially, this shit will get you, like being a cat dad. Okay. Ooh, we're not crying. Nope, 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 no crying on stream. But I love this movie. I absolutely fucking love this movie. If and this is something you can watch with your kids too, because there's no dialogue in it. It really is just about the animals. And seriously, watch this movie. Flow is my number 2 favorite film of the year. And I will say too, Robot Dreams, that's streaming on Hulu. If you haven't checked out Robot Dreams, that was my number 2 or 3 last year. Definitely check out Robot Dreams as well. So, all right, to recap, tied for my number 10, Heretic and Chaperone. Number 9 is The Wild Robot. Number 8 is Boy Kills World. Number 7 is Nosferatu. Number 6 is Strange Darling. Number 5 is Ultraman Rising. Number 4 is Sonic 3. Number 3 is Anora. Number 2 is Flow. And my number 1 favorite film of this past year, a film that is being criminally overlooked by the Academy. And the fact that this is not up for Best Picture is an incredible amount of bullshit, and really speaks to the way that we need more diversity, not just in film criticism, but for the Hollywood foreign press. My number 1 favorite film this year is Sing Sing. Coleman Domingo. Holy shit. Coleman Domingo is special. Coleman Domingo is fucking excellent. Whether it's in The Color Purple, whether it's in Rustin, which if you have not seen Rustin, check out Rustin. Whether it's in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, whether it's in Euphoria, whether it's in Candyman, the dude doesn't miss. Coleman Domingo is an incredible fucking actor. He's one of the best actors we fucking have right now. And as a black man looking at how the prison system is a business, let's call it what it is. It's not about making, reforming people. It's a fucking business. It's the closest thing we have to modern day slavery. That's what the prison system is. And the fact that this is a movie that focuses not just on that aspect, but talks about the power of art and how art can truly heal, can truly inspire. And okay, so a little, okay, not gonna cry. Okay, so I won't lie, I've been missing my dad a lot recently. And Coleman Domingo, I don't know what it is, but he reminds me of my dad. I've been watching like some interviews and stuff of him. He reminds me of my dad for some reason. And there's this point where he's talking about how men in prison, especially black men in prison, how they are forgotten, how they are disregarded, and how they are seen as lesser than, even though there are thousands, millions of them who probably shouldn't even fucking be there, because so many people end up in jail over fucking, over some weed or some bullshit. I love how powerful the film is. I love how the film gets into the nitty-gritty of those conversations. I love how the film speaks about masculine relationships as well. How, I've made the joke on the podcast about how, I watched I Love You Man, and I feel so seen watching I Love You Man, because that's a movie about, having, about guys becoming friends. And it feels like it's so hard, especially as you get older, to find those meaningful relationships, especially as a dude, just because, like, I've talked about it, how, not crying, not doing that. How, even talking about my cats as much as I do, because I fucking love my cats. My cats are my kids, But man, if I had a doll for any time, if I had a doll for any time, like I talked to my cats, like if I had a doll for any time someone would call me gay for like loving my cats or loving art or loving comics, like I would probably own like Tesla at this point, and I would actually make a better Tesla because I wouldn't fuck you, Elon. Anyways, but it's important. It's important to have those male relationships, and it's important to have these male conversations. And so many of the conversations that happen in this film are so vital, and they carry so much weight. And having these men talk about their art and talk about what just acting means to them, and how being able to have that escape allows them to go ahead and put aside the harsh realities that they have to deal with, is such a powerful thing. And it's a reason why you need to invest in art. And I'm not even just saying like you need to invest in art, but like go to your local theater. Go check out local art. Go check out indie film, for fuck's sake. Not all of these movies don't deserve your fucking money. Seek out indie art. Listen to Afternoon Tune. Listen to your boy. Listen to podcasts. Like, because you will find things and you'll find out about films that you had no idea even existed because you're reaching out to other people. Film is an incredible community, and art can be healing. And that is the big message, or one of the big messages behind Sing Sing. I don't think it's streaming yet. I think you would have to rent it. But y'all, I cannot express enough how much this is worth your time, and how, as a Black man, I felt so goddamn seen. Oh my God. Okay. How, as a Black man, I felt so seen watching this. And I talked about last year and how rough last year was. And all right, hang on. Not doing this. And how watching this movie just made me feel such pride and feel such hope. And I know how hard things are, people. Like, especially if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're a member of LGBTQ, I know how bleak things feel right now. And I cannot express enough. Don't just let your anger sit there. Please put it into your art. Put it into your relationships. Check in on your people. Because more so than ever, we need our community. We need community for each other. We need to reach across and check in on your people. Check in on your friends. Check in on your family. But the genuine admiration and the pride I felt watching this, it's why I do this podcast. I absolutely love this fucking movie, and I've actually watched this 4 times. I fucking love this movie, and I find more things about it to love the more I watch it. So, pardon me. Okay. So yeah, Sing Sing. That is my number 1 favorite film of the year. I absolutely love this movie. Absolutely love it. So, that's it, y'all. Favorite films of 2024. I will be doing a podcast this weekend about my Oscar picks. Haven't decided if I'm going to do an Oscar stream. I might do an Oscar stream. If I do, I'll update my Twitch schedule and let y'all know. As far as what's come up for the rest of the week, I'm gonna have a review for Piece by Piece tomorrow. Wrapping up for Black History Month. I don't think I actually posted my review. I don't think I actually posted my review of Sing Sing yet, which I need to do. But I'll have a review for Piece by Piece. Do a stream for Invincible Fight Girl with Brandon at some point this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This is one of my favorite streams to do each year, so I really appreciate all of you who tuned in. Again, shout out to the Afternoon Tune. If you have not subscribed to them, subscribe to the Afternoon Tune. They're good people. Subscribe to Kitty May Kill You on Twitch. They're an amazing Twitch streamer. Their community is great. Check out their Discord. I'm pretty active in there, and I love the community that they've built. And again, y'all, whether you're a first-time watcher or you've been riding since the beginning, I just appreciate y'all so much. Like I said, I am gonna probably be taking a break after next week after the Oscars. I'm gonna do a stream for Daredevil Born Again for those first couple episodes when that comes out, but then probably for the most of March I'll be off. So but I will keep y'all updated on that. Yeah, Stacy, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. But everyone, thank you again. Stay safe, take care of each other, give someone a hug, give someone a compliment. And please know at the end of the day, and this is one thing I'll say about this shitty administration, if your voice didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to silence it. So please use your voice more so than ever before. Use your voice, check in on your people, be angry, but be prideful, but also at the same time, inform yourself and check in on each other and take your anger and use it for something good, because your voice matters and you matter. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Yeah, and never forget, as always, to keep it real. Thank you so much, y'all, and I will talk to you later this week for the Oscar podcast. Cheers.